Well, hello everyone, Mr. E here, and it's time to participate in a time-honored YouTube tradition that is responding to what is barely drama with a drama of our own. Today's drama comes to us courtesy of Mr. Tanner Lindbergh, who is the proverbial Halley's Comet of Darktide content creators. He comes around every once in about 60-something years, drops a couple of videos, ooh, ah, big spectacle, and then he's off into the cosmic depths of space. When he'll return, nobody knows, but he is bound by the laws of physics. He will come back to Darktide and make more videos on it if you wait for long enough. Now, today he has something interesting to say about, well, as you can see down here, the Hive Ganager seems kind of boring, and other rambling thoughts, and I have two issues with this, so I'll be taking two videos to respond to it. This first video is about a more personal issue than the actual title of the video, so let's let him talk and give more or less his thesis statement, and then we'll dive in and explain exactly what I'm going to be addressing today.
No disrespect intended, but as the literal only not sponsored content creator for Darktide left, I would like to just provide the, opinion that I see a lot of regular people have that aren't paid to be positive about the game. Have you guys noticed? Hiveganger is stupid. Man, this shit fucking sucks. As soon as I saw everyone was like, bro, the new class is definitely Hiveganger, I was like, man, it better not be. This shit fucking sucks. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going crazy, but when I looked on YouTube, I saw every single person is like, here's why Hiveganger is the coolest thing ever. 10 facts you don't know about Hivegangers. And I'm like, dude, they're retards that
Okay, well, hold on, let's let him finish his statement.
wear robes and
Okay, so he's not talking about the people that are making the videos. Well, anyway, about those people that every single person on YouTube is making those videos. Well, I thought this was a little bit of an interesting claim, and so I pulled up my my little private browser here, and I searched for Darktide Ganger. Here's my video. Here's some stuff from forever ago. Here's Tanner's video. Here's my other video on the Ganger. And then as far as, here's my third video on the Ganger. And as far as any other Ganger content, I think that's it. So, when I hear him say all these content creators saying, oh, you know, the Ganger, the top 10, all that stuff, I sort of just think,
say my name.
mystery.
You're goddamn right.
Now, I don't think that Tanner did this as an intentional slight. I don't think he no-named me in order to, like, you know, show some sort of, like, dominance or, like, you know, get in my head or whatever. I think he honestly did it because it kind of distances me from the criticism that's being made, which is that all other content creators that are not Tanner Lindbergh are bought and paid for, which he literally says at the beginning. He is not sponsored, and everyone else that is sponsored is paid to be optimistic or have positive opinions about where the game is going. And that is something that I have been very wary of lately. I'm certain there's a couple of people that will comment on this video that have had arguments in the comments with me lately about my defense of Fat Shark, about my optimism about the new class, or about, you know, calling this shot and hyping it up, or whatever I'm perceived as doing. But I don't want to be perceived as hyping when it's not necessary or it's not warranted. My content is my content, and so we're going to go through today and explain exactly what is going on with my relationship with Fat Shark, so that you can better understand, you know, do I have integrity or not? Is there some speech I'm forbidden from having? Am I mandated to say certain company lines or repeat the script? And we're also going to talk about the greater Darktide content creator ecosystem, the creator cord. It's a Discord community, basically. And as Tanner will call them later in this video, he calls them the Cool Kids Club. So henceforth, it will be referred to as the Cool Kids Club. I'm going to try to get that name started internally as well. So I'll be describing exactly what it takes to become a member of that. And we'll be talking about, you know, Is there censorship? Is there a company policy or company line that we have to follow? And hopefully by the end of the video, you will understand what the relationship is there and whether or not you feel like you can trust me as an accurate purveyor of information, and whether or not the information that I'm bringing to you is in fact like, you know, my own deductive information, or whether it's like leaks or propaganda like spin or something like that, as I've seen a couple people in the comments of this video putting out, which is an interesting conspiracy theory. So let's really start at the base level here and talk about the Cool Kids Club. The Cool Kids Club is a group of Darktide content creators, and they are invited to a Discord, and we all share some very light privileges, such as early access to see some of the teaser trailers and to play the content ahead of release and play on the test server, etc., etc. And those sort of things. You would think that like the Cool Kids Club is like a very exclusive group, etc. I don't know, I would keep saying etc., but it really isn't. I don't mean this as any slight to the rest of the Cool Kids Club, but it is not very exclusive at all. In fact, it is a pretty open door. There are creators in there who have, you know, low quadruple digit sub counts on either Twitch or YouTube. There's creators in there who only made a handful of Darktide related content pieces in the lifetime of their channels or their online media presence. On the other hand, there's also creators in there that are absolutely massive, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and just completely dwarf our space entirely. And then there's also like members of the media who are mixed in there. You know, they get early access so they can make like Kotaku articles and stuff like that. I've seen them pop up from time to time. So that's the sort of people you can expect in there. And as far as the expectations for behavior, and as far as the thing that ties us all together, there is one holy document, the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. And the non-disclosure agreement basically says exactly what you'd expect it to say at the baseline, which is that, hey, occasionally there's going to be stuff that's listed on this server that is not for public distribution yet. So for instance, you know, a couple weeks ago, it was that the class is actually coming out on the 2nd. Now we all thought that it was pretty obvious it was coming out on the 2nd. So we went and ran, you know, Joe Plays Games and I think other people ran and told our communities it's coming out on the 2nd. That was unfortunately like actually not the case. We weren't supposed to say that yet. So there was a post that was like, guys, hold off on that. We don't know. Like it's not hammered down yet. So there was a little bit of communication there, but that sort of stuff. And as well as, you know, if they release a trailer early or put a trailer download early on the Discord so that we can get access to it, so we can start, you know, analyzing it and making our videos and preparing ahead of time. You know, that is privileged information. That is part of why you'd want to be part of the creator court, or sorry, the Cool Kids Club, my bad. But if you share it early, you are kicked the fuck out of the group. If you leak that shit, you're kicked out of the group at the least. I imagine if you leak something significant enough, you could maybe even like see legal action. I don't know. I'm not fucking around with it because I like being part of this little community. You know, it gives me what I want, which is to see this stuff early. So that is the baseline of the NDA, but there's some additional language in there that refers to like defamation or disparagement. And this is, I think, what many players, or many viewers rather, are concerned about is there stuff in the contract that you sign with Fat Shark Mystery that prevents you from saying certain things? That can you not be critical of their choices, etc.? Well, the first thing that the disparagement clause talks about is actually talking about other creators who are in the club. So you might have seen, you know, Joe Plays Games, Jefficus, and I, you know, when we interact, we are very friendly and like, you know, we get along very well. That's actually because there is a clause in this document that says you cannot disparage or insult or otherwise just have beef with people in the creator club, or sorry, the Cool Kids Club publicly. So that's why we're so nice to each other, is it's literally contractual. And then of course it goes on to talk about the way that we interact with Fat Shark. And they specifically enumerate that you can be critical of Darktide, you can be critical of Fat Shark, but you cannot attack Fat Shark employees directly, or their integrity or something like that, right? And the line is pretty clear, right? I think that everyone understands when you're stepping over the line. So I'll give you an example of something that I could say in a video, and have said things adjacent to this in a video before and would have no problem. It wouldn't threaten my NDA at all. And I'll give you an example of something that could get me kicked out of the club if I was really driving it home. So something I definitely can say is this update sucks. I hate the changes they made to the classes. I hate the guns. I am going to stop playing, and the devs have no idea what they're doing. It's beyond broken, and it's just Darktide is irredeemable at this point. That's something that's totally allowable to say. You can dog on this game all day long. You can shit on balance changes. You can shit on class choices, or what's overpowered, what's underpowered, as I have, right? If you look at my content, a lot of my really big poppin' content is like, complaining about the fucking plasma gunner, or literally earlier today, or sorry, late last night, talking about rotten fucking armor. So like, there is clearly an allowance for criticizing the game and choices within the game. So if the class comes out and it sucks, you can bet your ass that I'm going to be on my channel saying this sucks, make it better, or just do better next time if it's not even fixable, if it's that terrible. Now, the difference is I cannot go on my platform and attack the Darktide people directly. So, for instance, I cannot say Fat Shark Catfish is a big dum-dum poo-poo head, and she should be replaced with an actual catfish, right? That would be considered in breach of my NDA. I'm being disparaging to individuals at Fat Shark and sorry, Catfish. And so don't do that sort of thing. So really, honestly, you got pretty free reign, just don't get too damn personal with it. So that is really all there is to being a Darktide Cool Kids Club creator, right? Being part of that Cool Kids Club. And it comes with the privileges of being able to have early access to stuff. But as I said, you can't leak it. You can't share it with anyone that's outside of the Cool Kids Club by threat of removal. And there are people in the Cool Kids Club who have extra special access, who do know, and I know for a fact they know what the new class is that's coming. They see things even earlier than the Cool Kids Club do. So I would hazard a guess that as of time of publishing, most people in the Cool Kids Club do not know what the next class is. And I think that because I can see them conversing and still discussing what the new class is. We haven't received any information in the Discord about what it is, but I know there are people in the Discord that do, because there are playtesters in the Discord, and those playtesters are playing with it. So one of those playtesters is a little channel you might have heard of, Reginald, right? Reginald is a playtester, and in fact, if he watches this video, he can sound off in the comments and verify that, in fact, I tried to ask him a couple nights ago. I said, Reginald, you need to tell me everything you know about the class now. And he said, no, sorry, no can do. And I said, dude, I've got your family, and I've got a Katachan Combat Blade Mark 6, and if you don't tell me right now, I'm gonna push stab them. And he said, no, sorry. Do what you must. And you know what? That man has integrity. His whole family is dead, but he has integrity, damn it. So it comes with a very heavy burden to be a member of this club and know things and have privileged access early. But when you know stuff, you cannot share it in any way, shape, or form. And this is something that I saw a lot of people, speculating about. It's like, oh, Mr. E has early access. Joe Plays Games has early access. They both think it's Ganger. Well, it turns out that we're friends, right? And so I convinced her via my facts and logic that it was Ganger, showing my research. But here is the real rub, right? If I knew it was Ganger, if I had inside information that Fat Shark provided to me, they know that I know, right? If I share that information, if I make a video on it, if they tell me that it's a felonid, right, today, and tomorrow I turn around and make a video saying, guys, it's felonid, I'm pretty convinced it's felonid, they're probably just going to kick me out of the group. They would probably terminate, my contract immediately, because how is that going to be seen as anything but breaching NDA? That's obviously just completely leaking shit. But you can look at my content from when I did my sort of inductive or deductive, I forget which one it is, but the reasoning around why I think it is ganger. And, well, that video stayed up and I'm still in the club. So that means that one of two things is true, right? Either I am correct and I didn't have foreknowledge. I didn't know when I made that video. And so therefore I was using actual information that could be gained from outside sources, or I was wrong. So those are the options, right? So either I figured it out independently of anything that Fat Shark would be leaking to me or any early access information, or I was just straight wrong in my assumptions. Now, I still believe that I am right. And, I think I did a pretty good job of laying out my argument there, but there is a specific clause in the NDA that we sign that says, hey, if you find information that's out there floating around in public that's leaked on the internet or whatever, and it's not something that you are like leaking from the information, the privileged information that we've given you, then you're good to go. You can talk about it, right? So for instance, broker, that has been floating around the internet for like 9 months plus. And so I took that and then I ran with it forward to make my inferences about what the class will be. So that's where the NDA leaves us. Now let's talk about what it means to be a sponsored content creator, actually be paid money by Fat Shark to make content for them, because I think this is what players are really concerned about, especially the players that are wary about myself and my relationship with Fat Shark and whether that means I have a conflict of interest, whether I can be critical at all, or whether I will couch my speech in order to preserve the financial interests of my channel. And, this is just going to have to be a trust me bro at certain parts, but I won't couch my speech. And let me explain to you very simply how little Fat Shark is interested in corralling your speech or in any way, whether you're part of the Cool Kids Club or whether you're a sponsored content creator. So last update cycle around, Bound by Duty update rolled around, and I was offered the chance to make a piece of sponsored content for their channel. They literally reached out to me and said, hey, Mr. E, we'd like you to make a sponsored video for our channel. What's your rate? And so I told them my rate. I had literally never done a sponsored piece of content before, so I had to kind of pull that out of my ass. So like $12,000 per minute is my standard rate now. And they said, okay. And I said, okay. And then they sent me the contract, or what would amount to a contract, with the demands of what I needed to cover in the video. And so this is where I think a lot of people are very, very apprehensive about my coverage and my content. They assume that when you sign that contract, that deal with the devil, that you're going to have a sponsored video on their channel, that you have certain points that you must hit, certain things that you must not talk about, and that the bent of the video needs to be to the positive. I'm just going to summarize for you, but this is roughly what the communication of what they wanted me to produce went like. We would like you to make a long-form YouTube video to cover the Bound by Duty update and to drive engagement and hype surrounding the update. Delivery date is by blankety blank. And that was it. So you might have noticed that not only was there no mandated or prohibited speech in there, there was nothing they wanted me to not say, or there's nothing they wanted me to specifically say. There was no mandate to what angle I should take in the video, and there was not even the slightest hint as to what they even wanted the video to be about, other than just the update. I ended up having to go back and forth with Fat Shark Catfish, who is the woman who manages this community, or sorry, the Cool Kids Club, and about like what they actually wanted in a video for the channel. And she said, she just advised me like, hey, you have videos about build guides and you have videos about like tier list and those are your best performing videos, why don't you do something like that? And I thought about doing something like that, and then I ended up going my own angle and producing sort of a talent breakdown, because I feel like that was something that players probably really wanted to see. And you know, that wasn't anything she suggested, but I put it out there, and lo and behold, they accepted it. Now it has to go through several different checks. It has to go through not only Fat Shark's eyes, but then it has to be under the microscope by Games Workshop as well, because it's part of their official sort of marketing at that point. So they both looked at it and they approved it. Now, if you are a person who watched that video, you know I wasn't positive the entire time, because I straight up point out how in several of the different talent trees, there are talents that are just garbage, that the Power Falchion isn't as good as the Power Sword, like all sorts of stuff throughout it, that they could have very easily said, whoa, hold on, retake that, cut it out, just cut that part out, just only put positive stuff in there. But that's not what they wanted, right? They just wanted just the normal experience. And so if you watched that video on their channel and you said, this just feels like a Mr. E video, but uploaded to the Fat Shark channel, that's because it's literally all it was. I wasn't allowed to swear because it's a public, a public-facing piece of marketing media for them, but everything else was literally exactly how I would have done it on my own channel. And I did a little bit more editing to feel like I gave them value for their money. But outside of that, that's exactly, what they would expect. So I don't think you should have any concerns about the channel at large or Cool Kid Club members at large being orchestrated or being forced into having some sort of concerted speech that hits the company line, because they don't even have a company line. They don't even have a script that you follow when they're literally directly paying you to put content on their channel. They very easily could do that, right? It's their fucking channel. They could say, we want you to say this and this and this in the video to draw attention and to boost sales. But they don't. They literally just say, hey, will you make a video for us? Cool. All right, what's your rate? All right, thanks for the video. Please deliver it by this date. And that's it. So they are so hands-off with their directly contacted sponsored content creators. Can you even imagine how hands-off they are with the content creators who aren't paid? But, so hopefully, if you're not immediately not suspicious of me, at least you'll be able to look at every other content creator who hasn't appeared on their official channels and just be able to breathe a sigh of relief that they are not yet corrupted by the corporate greed money, by lining their pockets. And I also want to specify, because I did see this sentiment from a number of people, anytime there is sponsored content, you have to declare it, right? I think a lot of people know this intuitively if you watch YouTube for some amount of time, but if you're paid money to have an opinion or to state something or say something's good, you literally have to, by law, declare it in the content. So if you ever hear me glazing or praising something, I wasn't paid money to say it, because I'd have to say if I was paid money to say it. So there's that settled once and for all. Now, I do want to talk about a little bit of nuance that sort of underlies this whole conversation. And I guess I'll wrap up after this, but there is a certain, I don't want to say chilling factor to the speech, but there is a certain sort of corralling effect that having this community Cool Kids Club creates. When you have a group of creators cool kids rather, who are given privileged access, who are given the chance to be in a sponsored spotlight or be paid money, or perhaps they want it for the spotlight itself, when you are given the chance to have that, then you are going to censor your own speech, right? You are going to, by nature, sort of steer your speech in such a way that you will not offend the sensibilities. Because when it comes down to it, Fat Shark does have a bit of soft power in that regard, right? None of us can be kicked out of, well, they can, I guess, but none of us should be kicked out of the Cool Kids Club unless we violate our NDA. But when they come to picking people to actually pay them money to be on their channel, they can be as picky as they want, right? So they can look at channel A, who has 100,000 views per video. They can look at channel B, who has 50,000 views per video, and they could choose channel B over channel A because of underlying factors. And so I think this is probably where, my concern lies about this is like, of course, I want to preserve my relationship with Fat Shark. I would love to be given the opportunity to do another sponsored bit. It was a pride of my career so far as a content creator, actually being on the fucking launcher for the game that I started making content for like a year and a half ago. I was so excited about that. I told my fucking parents, right? So like it was a monumentous thing for me, and I'd love to be able to get the chance to do that in the future. Would I corral my speech? Would I watch what I say in order to be assured that spot? I don't know, right? I certainly would not be critical of the content or any of the things that I've been critical of. Balance in the game, I feel like those things are absolutely 100% fair game. But I will be upfront with you when I say that I have received indication before that Fat Shark and certain people at Fat Shark have not been 100% happy with some of my rant content, with some of my content complaining about their choices as devs. And so that offends their sensibilities, and it might make my chances of having a sponsored spot with them worse. But at the same time, I think it's something that my community really resonates with, that I want to be a voice for my community, for my viewers. And so it's important to me to be able to continue to say it. So I will continue to push back whenever I hear that stuff. I'm not going to go out of my way to like attack the devs directly and say that like they're stupid poo-poo heads, like Fat Shark Catfish was called earlier in this video. But I do think it's important to say when they are stepping their foot in it, right? When they're shooting themselves in the foot and making decisions that I disagree with, I will be able to continue to say that. I just want my viewers to understand that there's never going to be anything on this channel that is bought and paid for. Well, unless someone like, offers me like a VPN sponsorship or something, then I'll tell you up front it's a fucking sponsored bit. But anything on this channel is just going to be purely my opinions, right? I'm certain you've noticed this by now, but I'm a pretty opinionated guy. You can find little snippets of it here and there snuck in, edgewise in some of my content. And I'm not going to change that for money. That doesn't make any sense, because it undermines my value, and it undermines what players come here to see me for, is to see the actual me. So whether or not the class that is coming is Ganger, I am going to approach it with an open mind. Now, if I think it's really, really good on the day of release, whatever it is not going to be because I was paid to say so, unless it's on Darktide's channel, in which case I'll probably just make it a normal-ass Mr. E video, right? I'll maybe be a little bit more optimistic than normal, but on my channel, you will always be able to expect my true opinion on these matters. The whole reasoning behind making this video right here, which I know is the one that he was talking about, right here. Why would Fat Shark choose a Ganger, right? As someone in the comments down here calls it damage control, is because I see the comments. I see players in my comments saying, oh man, I believe you. I'm convinced I believe you that it's gonna be the Hive Ganger, but I'm not exactly pumped for it. And so I wanted to explore that concept and see, is there reason here to be pumped? If they're choosing the Ganger, they've got to have an idea behind it, right? And that's why I wanted to make this video. And that's a topic for another day. So that's where I want to wrap this video, guys. If you want to hear more in-depth thoughts on why I actually don't think that there's such an idea as as what does Tanner call it in his thumbnail? This shit is ass. I don't think any idea for a class is ass, right? It could literally just be like boring ass vanilla man that they could turn into a cool class, because it's all about the mechanics you implement with it. But I'll talk about that in the next video. Thank you guys for watching this complete ramble. Go watch Tanner's video and see him pop off. He is very animated and it's quite funny. Tanner at his peak and his finest. And remember, I am I'm here to report only unbiased slop, guys. I am standing with you, and we will fight corruption together. I don't know. I'm just going to turn the video off now. Okay, bye.